Hey my dudes, my name is Cecilia and welcome to my kitchen here in Stockholm, Sweden. Today we are making Västerbottenpaj. Last weekend, my friend Matilda and I hosted a crayfish party for 30 people. Crayfish parties are a huge deal here in Sweden and happen every August. In Swedish, a crayfish party is called a Kraftskiva. Crayfish used to grow abundantly in Swedish lakes. They don't really anymore and honestly haven't for about the past century, but people still love the party and you can still get some Swedish crayfish. They're just really expensive. It's more common now to buy them from China, Turkey, or Spain. If you're having a crayfish party, you gotta serve the crayfish with bread and butter, snaps and drinking songs, of course, and Västerbottenpaj. Västerbottenpaj is basically a quiche made with Västerbotten cheese. This is a sharp, aged cheese that comes from the Västerbotten region of Sweden, and like champagne, this cheese can only come from Västerbotten. This pie has gotten more and more popular in the last few decades. Honestly, I don't even really like shellfish that much, especially red shellfish, but man oh man, do I love this pie. For my party, I made 6 of them and it was super intense and a lot of work. And if you're interested in any of my party prep videos and how I organized and cooked for a party of 30 people, I have all of those party vlogs on Instagram and TikTok and linked down below in the description. But if you're just here to learn how to make Västerbottenpaj, this is the right video. I got a whole tutorial for you. So whether you need to bring a pie for a crayfish party or you just want to make a really delicious dinner, I've got you covered. Let's get started. I have already made my pie dough that I need for this recipe. This is my go-to pie dough recipe. It's super, super simple, but you can use any pie dough recipe that you like. Just 1 round of pie dough. I am going to be using a glass pie plate. I just like the look of glass, but you can use whatever you want. This is 9 inches, 23 centimeters. A little bit of flour going on here, sprinkly, sprinkly. I tend to like a fairly thick dough for my savory pies, and this is 1/2 centimeter almost. 1/2 centimeter, 1/3 of an inch-ish. Just making sure it's all nice and even. It's okay if it's a little rough. I think that's part of the look. And we're gonna go schwunk and fold it into quarters. This goes like that. Put it in the middle here and then fold it over. And we're gonna take the other side and we're gonna schwunk and press it in. Way more dough than we need. Just gonna take some kitchen scissors and cut all the way around, but leave a lot of room. Sometimes I do this with a knife, and today I feel like using scissors. And I'm just going to tuck under just to kind of clean up that edge. And if there's any spots, see how this is kind of wonky? I don't care. We're still just tucking under. It doesn't really matter. One of the things I really like about Västerbottenpaj in particular is that I want it to look a little bit more funky monkey than a normal American apple pie, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go around and pinch my edges. Yeah, that's the one I'm gonna do today, like that. I'm just using my 2 fingers like this and going around and pinching. Not only is this gonna make a decorative edge, it's also going to heighten it so we can get even more filling in there. And also this filling has a tendency to rise a lot, so this is nice. Lovely, very rustique. And then you're going to prick the inside a bajillion times with a fork. And up the sides. I'm just kind of pushing these out so that when this bakes, sometimes it has a tendency to shrink just slightly, right? Water loss. This way it'll kind of hold its shape a little bit better. Take some aluminum foil. You want to start in the middle because you don't at all want to catch this and pull it in, but you do want to make sure that you have it all the way around the sides. And I like to kind of catch the lip down here and make sure that I'm holding that edge so that way it helps keep the edge in place as we blind bake it. And make sure you cover this edge as well. If you don't cover all of your edges, you risk having them brown too much in the oven during the blind bake, and then they're likely to burn once you have them in the oven with the filling. Now, if you were prepping for a party, you could stop right here, throw this in the freezer, and it can sit in there for a month. You know, who cares? And then you can take it directly from the freezer and blind bake it. It is better to freeze this and blind bake it the day you're gonna make the tart than it is to blind bake the tart and like let that sit for a couple days, a week or whatever, because that's gonna get like stale and not nice. Take your pie weights. These are just some dried beans that I have designated as pie weights. I have been using them for 4 or 5 years now. You do not need the fancy ceramic pie weights. They are an absolute waste of your money. Buy dirt cheap dried beans and then use those until they're like nasty, which is like, it's gonna take you like 5 to 10 years. And then buy more dried beans. And you wanna press it down, and I like to press it up the sides so that I know it's helping that crust stay in place. And we're gonna pop this in the oven for 20 minutes.
After 20 minutes, take the pie out of the oven. Carefully lift up the foil and take away the beans. Brush with beaten egg and make sure you cover absolutely every bit of the crust. Pop back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes or until the crust is a nice, light golden brown.
I know every one of my videos is the same, and I like take something out of the oven and then I look at the camera and I go, oh my God. It's so pretty, but it fills me with so much joy every time. Put that to the side. And while that's cooling, let's make the filling.
Into a bowl, crack 5 eggs and pour in 5 deciliters of cream. Add in about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. You can use more or less depending on your preference. I also added about 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper because I love it, but season to your own taste. Whisk that all together really well.
Pie shell is cool enough. It's still a little bit warm, and best practice is to like let it cool completely. But as we all know, I don't have the patience for that. So, I mean, it's warm, but I can hold it. So it's not hot. It's not gonna like mess up the filling or anything. And we have our filling. And then of course we have our Västerbotten. Now you can get this like as a normal like wheel of cheese or like a wedge of cheese. I tend to buy the pre-grated stuff just because it's just as good and it's cheaper. Now, of course, in the kilo price, it's cheaper to buy the wedge or the wheel. I don't eat it enough to justify buying a whole wedge or a whole wheel of Västerbotten, so I really like the pre-grated stuff. If you don't live in Sweden and you don't have access to Västerbotten, that's totally fine. You can substitute this with a really nice sharp cheddar or basically any nice, sharp, aged cheese. It's gonna be good enough. The way I like to do this is you just cover the bottom with cheese, like that. You're gonna add in all of our mixture here, pouring it around. Yeah. Okay, get all that black pepper in there. Sometimes I like to give it just like a quick stir, so I know that the cheese is not just like, you know, it's kind of getting all in there. Be gentle though, you don't wanna splash the mixture all over the place. Then you take more cheese and you put it on top and it kind of like floats, makes a really nice cheesy crust. And like this pie is all about the cheese. You can be kind of light-handed with it if you want a more subtler tasting pie, or you can be heavy-handed like me. I don't know, I've probably used at least 150 grams, if not 200 grams of cheese. But you know, measure with your heart. And into the oven it goes. Be very careful with this part. Et voila! Oh, it looks so good. Okay, I know it's ready. First of all, because it's cracked along here, so it's like really puffy. And then also, I jiggle it, and it jiggles, but the middle doesn't jiggle like it's wet. It jiggles like it's set. So if you, like 10 minutes before this, had taken the pie and kind of jiggled it in the oven, this middle part, it still looks like it's liquid. like how the ocean moves. Does that make sense? Like how water moves. It looks like it's still wet inside, the way that it jiggles. This is a set jiggle. It's a solid jiggle. You'll get it. You'll see it. You'll be fine. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this week's video, then please like and comment, subscribe. And also, again, if you're interested in any of my party prep, that kind of content, I have it all on Instagram and TikTok, and it is linked down below in the description. Otherwise, I hope that you have a great week and that I'll see you around next week. Hej då!